Authorities released a CCTV footage that captured the terrifying scene inside the Chuzon supermarket in Porac when the magnitude 6.1 earthquake struck on Monday. The Philippine National Police readies the charges to be filed against the owner of the collapsed Chuzon store. Water dams in Nueva Ecija showed no damage based on a post-earthquake assessment. Know why Palawan could be the safest place in the Philippines. And experts warn parents that too much exposure to TV and other electronic screens could lead to obesity in infants and toddlers. Good evening. Authorities released a CCTV footage showing the moment when a strong earthquake struck Chuzon supermarket last Monday. Meanwhile, rescuers confirmed that there are no more signs of life underneath the collapsed structure. Joanano tells us why.
For the very first time, the Police Regional Office 3 was able to retrieve a copy of the closed-circuit television or CCTV of Chuzon supermarket when a 6.1 magnitude earthquake jolted central Luzon last Monday. In the ground floor of the building where the supermarket is located, it can be seen that several items fall to the ground due to intense shaking due to the earthquake. Meanwhile, in the second video, the second floor of the building collapsed entirely and falls to the ground due to intense tremor. According to Pampanga Provincial Police Director Colonel Jean Fajardo, the copy of the CCTV is a big help for them to confirm that there were really no more bodies under the rubble.
Sabi ko nga, it would have been a different story. Mas marami po tayong casualty kung ang building po ay bumagsak po na flat po. Yung nangyari po doon, ma'am, parang fast-forward po bumagsak pa, pasulong po. Kaya po, na-spare po yung mga tao po sa supermarket po.
On the other hand, as of 7 a.m. today, the police confirms that there were no more signs of life or cadavers trapped inside the collapsed building.
Lahat po ng equipment na possible na gamitin to detect life po, and then yung cadaver, kasi we are on our 4th day. Kung meron po tayong natrap dyan na patay, sobrang mabaho na po. At wala po tayong nadedetect ngayon. Even yung K9, ma'am, nag-concentrate po doon sa area kung saan po naiwan po yung legs po ng ating first survivor.
The rescuers were able to reach the ground floor of the building and seized that only the products of the supermarket were underneath.
Ang nandun po sa area, talaga pong magkakadikit po yung mga flooring po. Mula po sa taas, nakarating po yung flooring ng 3rd floor po, pababa po dun sa ground. So nag-hit po talaga sa ground yon, literally. Ang kagandahan lang po, sir, is yung ito lang pong area na to, sir, ang bumagsak. Yung supermarket area po, buo po yon, hindi po yun bumagsak. Kaya yung mga fear po namin no na mga customers na natrap po ay na-confirm po na wala, kasi po yung supermarket po sa bandang likod po hindi po nagala except po doon sa mga bumagsak na mga paninda.
On the other hand, Police Regional Office 3 Deputy Director for Operations, Police Senior Superintendent Roderick Armamento confirms that they are in constant communication with Mr. Samuel Chu, the owner of the Chuzon supermarket. Armamento says that Mr. Chu vows to help the families of those who died and got injured in the accident. According to the police, Mr. Chu commits that he will not flee the authorities and promise to be responsible on whatever criminal charges he might face.
Yung abogado naman niya is also in constant coordination doon sa ating team na nagsasagawa ng investigations. From the day one, sinabi naman niya na hindi siya magtatago, tutulong impact siya. Sabi niya, tutulong din siya doon sa mga apektuhan.
Based on the police investigation, Mr. Chu owns 9 branches of Chuzon supermarket. 5 of those are in Pampanga, while the others are located in Tarlac and Bataan. Meanwhile, the rescue team targets to finish the clearing operations in the collapsed supermarket by Saturday. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue, Porac, Pampanga.
The Philippine National Police is looking into the possible liability of the Chuzon supermarket when it collapsed during the magnitude 6.1 earthquake that struck Luzon on Monday. Leah Ilagan tells us why.
The Philippine National Police Chief General Oscar Albayalde says Samuel Chu, owner of the ill-fated Chuzon supermarket in Porac, Pampanga, may face a case of reckless imprudence resulting to multiple homicide and multiple physical injuries. Albayalde said CIDG-3 are now completing the statement of complainants and will present the documents and evidence to a structural expert.
Unang-una, meron silang mga liability. Whether mag-file o hindi ng criminal case yung mga tao dito, of course, yung civil liability, number 1 yan. Siguradong meron yan.
Albayalde added they are also looking into possible liability of some local officials in Porac for allowing Chuzon owners to use substandard materials in building the 4-story supermarket.
Probably, baka substandard yung building nila. But then, of course, meron ding mananagot dun on the local officials dahil kung bakit sila nagkaroon ng permit, no? At kung nag-violate sila ng yung building code, yung strength of materials.
The police said they coordinating with the Department of Public Works and Highway, which is also investigating the matter, particularly on the structural capability and components of the building. Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue, Camp Crame.
Which part of the country is the safest to earthquakes, and how would you know if your house is near a fault line? Mai Bermudez has this report.
After the consecutive quakes that jolt Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, is there any part of the country where you can escape from massive damage? According to the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, or PHIVOLCS, there is one place where you can run to.
Yung Palawan, ito yung stable region. Yung stable region, dun walang lindol halos. So yung Palawan, medyo relatively hindi na lindol dyan.
Though Palawan has no active faults in the province, PHIVOLCS said it can still feel the effects of any earthquake like a tsunami. Greater Manila area has 2 fault systems comprised of the 10-kilometer East Valley Fault in Rizal and the 100-kilometer West Valley Fault bridging Rizal, Metro Manila, Cavite, and Laguna. When this moves, possible danger of ground ruptures or cracks may occur.
Kung meron kang structure on top of the fault at lumihis yung lupa, minsan kasi lumilihis 3 meters, 5 meters kung depende sa lakas ng lindol, ang tendency ito ay wawarakin o sisirain yung foundation ng building. So in this sense, kung may building ka doon at maraming tao, malaking chance na mag-collapse yun.
So if you plan to safely construct your home, you may consult mobile app or website PHIVOLCS Fault Finder to know if you are close to the fault line.
Kunyari, balak mong bumili pala ng properties or developer ka or LGU ka, yung land use, pwede mong gamitin ito para masabi mo kung saan yung mga fault system. And then, kung saan curious ka, kunyari, ito yung lote, gusto mong bilhin, nasa fault ba o hindi. Pwede mong i-double click yung isang active fault nearest you, pag kinlik mo, hintayin natin, tapos kakalculate niya kung gaano kalayo yung lugar mo sa fault.
In the end, establishments and buildings must follow the National Building Code. PHIVOLCS estimates that at any time, the 7.2 magnitude quake may still hit Metro Manila, so it's best to prepare for the big one. Mai Bermudez, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
And following the reported damages to some structures in Luzon due to a strong earthquake last Monday, an architect said a house or a building that has yet to be constructed must undergo a structural analysis to strengthen its resistance to earthquake. April Senadosa explains why.
Is your home safe from earthquake? The way how people take care of their health can also be compared to how they secure their homes when an earthquake strikes. The UNTV News team today asked the insights of architect Froilan Bolante of architecture and designs company The Big Tree about earthquake-resistant structures. The top-notch architect said that structural engineers are in charge of the structural analysis that will prove the resistance of structures to an earthquake. The said analysis also indicates that structures must not collapse when a magnitude 8 earthquake strikes. Bolante showed this project located at Barangay Beza in Quezon City, a house to be constructed which is meant to withstand earthquakes.
Basta meron kang structural analysis, lahat ng structure matibay. Para sa akin lahat ng structure, maliban lang sa 1 story na ang area niya is 40 square meter. below. Wala nang structural analysis yon. Pero pag 60 pataas, 100 square meter, kahit na mababa, kailangan mo kuha na ng structural analysis.
According to Volante, a house should have 2 exit points to ensure the safety of people in the house when a strong earthquake occurs.
Tapos yung open space, importante yun. Dapat paglabas mo ng bahay, meron kang setback na kung saan pwedeng paglabas mo ng bahay, doon yung pinaka-station point mo kung may earthquake.
Installing hinges, he said, provides support to the doors of a house. He also advises the public not to put heavy things in elevated parts of a house. During an earthquake, Volante mentioned that a house's door may crack if it does not have a rubber stopper. Architect Volante meanwhile advises those who are considering to build their own houses to consult licensed architects or engineers because they are more knowledgeable on the processes a structure must undergo. April Sanedoza, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The National Irrigation Administration Upper Pampanga River Integrated Irrigation System declared that all its dams in Nueva Ecija are safe after a strong earthquake jolted the Central Luzon. Grace Casin tells us why.
Technical experts were immediately deployed in the 5 dams in Nueva Ecija after a 6.1 magnitude quake with its epicenter traced in Castillejo, Zambales, also jolted the province on Monday. According to NIA UPRIIS Division Manager Engineer Rosalinda Rose Bote, all dams are safe, including the Rizal Dam in Rizal Town. Bote said they did not also see any cracks in the walls that surrounded the dam despite the age of the structure. They also found out that the machines are well functioning after being checked. Rizal Dam supplies the irrigation in the town of Rizal. Aside from Rizal Dam, Bote said they also inspected Pantabangan Dam, which also generates electricity for Luzon grid on top of irrigation for the province. Canili Dam, Peñaranda River Irrigation System in Peñaranda, and the Atate and Aulu Dams, both in Palawan City.
Overall po, na occurrence po ng significant change and damages po along the Pantabangan Dam. Also, together with our 4 local dams, so meron din po kami 4 local dams, Peñaranda Dam, and Atate, Rizal Dam, yun po yung aming re-regulating dam, distribution po namin, and also with the Tayaro Rizal. So far po ay i-report na rin po namin sa Central Office na yung ating pong findings with regards to the inspection ay safe.
Meanwhile, aside from checking the structures of Pantabangan Dam, they also monitor the level of its water, especially with the worsening effect of El Nino in the country. As of now, the water level in the dam is normal.
During the last year, habagat and sales of Typhoon Onpong, kami po ay nakapag-restore ng tubig up to elevation po 19. So far, one of the highest elevation po na aming na-attain. But after the dry cropping season, tapos na po ating dry cropping season, yun nasa 195.58 liters pa rin po ang Pantabangan.
Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Moderate earthquakes occurred in the country in the past days. How does the shaking of the ground impact different areas in our country? Let's find out from Ray Palayo.
Earthquakes have different effects on varying places. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, or PHIVOLCS, said that an earthquake is more destructive in alluvial areas like the location of Pampanga, which was affected by the magnitude 6.1 quake in Zambales last April 22. It is tectonic, which means the Earth's plates moved. A tectonic earthquake affects a wider range of areas than a volcanic earthquake. A volcanic earthquake affects mostly those areas surrounding the volcano that causes the tremor, during which the movement of the ground is due to the eruption or breaking of rocks under the volcano because of the heat of magma.
Katulad po nung March 11, 2011 na earthquake sa Japan, yung tectonic earthquake po na nangyari doon sa Japan, dito sa may Tohoku area, umabot po sa Philippines, actually umabot sa buong mundo. At nag-oscillate po yung mundo sa kalakasan po ng mundo.
Landslides and explosions from mines and nuclear may also cause shaking of the ground. PHIVOLCS explained There are different seismic waves.
Ang primary wave po, ang travel po nito is up-down direction. So ito po yung nararanasan natin na pagtaas at pagbaba pag lumilindol. Ang secondary wave naman, ito yung sideways movement. Kadalasan ito po yung pinakamalakas na movement at nakakasira po ng mga structures. Meron din po tayong isang klase pa na seismic wave na tinatawag natin mga surface wave. At kadalasan po nangyayari ito dun sa mga lugar na kung saan ay malalambot ang lupa at natatrap po yung mga seismic wave at nagkakaroon ng oscillation po. Kaya ito po naman ang nararanasan natin na parang dinuduyan tayo pag lumilindol.
In the Philippines, PHIVOX uses a 10-point intensity scale through the PHIVOX Earthquake Intensity Scale. Intensity 1 is perceptible to people only under favorable circumstances. Still water in containers move slightly. With intensity 2, hanging objects swing slightly. Still water in container oscillates noticeably. When intensity 3 is felt, more people experience shaking, even those outside structures, especially those on higher floors of a building. Some people may experience dizziness and nausea. Most people will feel the shaking with intensity 4 in an affected area. Hanging objects swing considerably and plates and glasses, including windows and doors, rattle. Rumbling sounds may sometimes be heard. Many sleeping people would be awakened with intensity 5. Plates and glasses fall, including some light and unstable objects. Liquid may spill from open containers, and standing vehicles rock noticeably. Leaves and twigs of trees shake noticeably. When intensity 6 is felt, some people lose their balance and motorists feel like driving with flat tires. Wall plasters may crack and landslides may occur and rockfall from highly mountainous areas. Trees are noticeably shaken. People find it difficult to stand with intensity 7, especially those on higher floors. It may cause severe damages, especially with the old structures. Liquefaction, lateral spreading, and landslides are observed. People will have difficulty to stand even those outdoor when intensity 8 is felt in an area. Well-built structures and even bridges may have considerable damages. Railway tracks are bent or broken. Liquefaction and lateral spreading cause man-made structures to sink, tilt, or topple. Water splashes over rivers and dikes. Intensity 9 will make many people cry due to the devastating shaking. It may leave wider destruction of structures and most utility posts, tilt, or fall. Intensity 10 will cause completely devastation.
Kung yung apektado ng lugar ay nandun po tayo sa malambot na lupa o yung mga kapatagan, mas malaki po yung effect sa atin kung lumilindol. Kumpara po dun sa mga matitigas na lupa o nandun sa mga kabundukan.
Ray Pelayo, UNTV, News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The World Health Organization issues new guidelines stating that infants as well as 1-year-old should not spend any time in front of screens. Bianca Quijano tells us why.
Children aged 2 to 4 should not be allowed more than 1 hour of sedentary screen time per day, and infants less than 1 year old should not be exposed to electronic screens at all, the World Health Organization said on Wednesday, April 24th. Sedentary screen time would include watching television or videos and playing computer games.
And the widest context here is the rising levels of overweight and obesity and the increasing levels of physical inactivity. Currently today, 1 in 3 adults are overweight or obese. 1 in 4 adults do not do enough physical activity.
In a report 2 years ago, the number of obese children and adolescents worldwide had jumped tenfold to 120 million in the past 40 years, and that the rise was accelerating in low and middle income countries, especially in Asia. Excessive weight gain can lead to diseases including diabetes, hypertension, and some forms of cancer. The United Nations agency, issuing its first such guidelines, said under 5s should also be physically active and get adequate sleep to help develop good lifelong habits and prevent obesity and other diseases in later life. Children between 1 and 4 years old should spend at least 3 hours in a variety of physical activities spread throughout the day, adding that infants under 1 should interact in floor-based play and avoid all screens.
We are very clear that there is merit in time spent with children, being active through play, and sometimes that can involve the electronic instruments. What we are cautioning on is overuse of those electronic screen times with young children.
Early childhood is a period of rapid physical and cognitive development, during which habits are formed and family lifestyle routines are adaptable, it said in the guidelines, drawn from evidence in hundreds of studies, mainly from Australia, Canada, South Africa, and the United States. Chronic insufficient sleep in children has been associated with increased excessive fat accumulation as measured by body mass index, or BMI. Shorter sleep duration has been associated with more TV viewing and time spent playing computer games. Bianca Quijano, UNTV News and Rescue.
Earthquake and other calamities are possible reasons to make the Commission on Elections declare a failure of elections. But the poll body said that there should be enough reason before they decide to declare election failure. Here's Aiko Miguel to tell us why.
There is no recorded failure of elections in the history of the country, but according to the Commission on Elections, there are different reasons for the declaration of failure of elections. According to COMELEC spokesperson Director James Jimenez, COMELEC declares failure of elections when the conduct of elections is delayed due to violence, terrorism, or fraud.
Halimbawa, walang balota, walang eleksyon obviously, because elections cannot be held at all. And then, of course, yung man-made problems, no? Violence, people not showing up, for instance, or supplies not being delivered. Pag hindi ka makapagsagawa ng halalan, magkakaroon ka ng election or failure of election.
Jimenez adds, failure of elections can also be declared when a calamity hits the country like earthquake and flooding, which result to the suspension of the conduct of elections in an area.
When there is a natural calamity such that the voting facilities or the polling places are damaged or are unsafe to use, yun, magkakaroon ng failure of elections dyan.
COMELEC clarifies that they cannot immediately declare a failure of elections unless there are valid and enough reasons. There is also a process for the declaration of the failure of elections.
Yung local election officer magre-recommenda sa COMELEC at yung COMELEC and bank yan ang magsasabi, sige, declare ka na ng failure dyan. So hindi yan automatic, hindi yan madadaan sa puyo or madadaan sa ingay ng party.
Jimenez stated that power outages is not also enough reason to declare a failure of elections because vote counting machines are battery operated. And there are also generator sets which are assigned in polling places in the country. Meanwhile, COMELEC field officials are continuously coordinating with the power providers and distributors to assure that there will be no power interruptions on Election Day. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The National Grid Corporation of the Philippines, or NGCP, has placed the Luzon grid under yellow and red alerts again today. In an advisory, the NGCP said that Luzon grid will be on yellow alert from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., 5 p.m. to 6 p.m., and 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. It will be on red alert from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. These alerts mean that power reserves are lower than the power supply demand. Rotating brownouts are likely to occur in Luzon during the hours when red alert is raised. NGCP said that the current available capacity of the Luzon grid is at 10,707 megawatts while the peak demand is expected at 10,534 megawatts. The alerts were issued in the wake of the magnitude 6.1 earthquake that rattled parts of Luzon on Monday, which caused multiple trippings in some power plants. A consumer group pushes for incentives for consumers affected by unscheduled power outages. During a Senate hearing today, lawmakers questioned the Energy Regulatory Board, or ERB, and the Department of Energy, or DOE, why there are no clear policies that penalize power producers in the country. Nel Maribuhok will tell us why.
The Senate and House Committee on Energy conducted a probe today on the power outages experienced in several parts of the country due to unscheduled maintenance shutdowns of some power plants. The lawmakers asked the officials of the Energy Regulatory Board, or ERB, and the Department of Energy, or DOE, regarding their measures in resolving power shortages in the Luzon region every El Nino season. Senate Committee on Energy Chairman Sherwin Gatchalian is wondering why there are simultaneous maintenance shutdowns among some power plants. Because of this, the issue on the liabilities of power producers was raised.
That's why we want to see a policy that will penalize the power producers, because it's their job to make sure that their commitment is always a commitment. Meron ba tayong penalties dito sa mga commitment na ito?
As of now, none, Mr. Chair. But again, depending on their contractual arrangement with their off-takers.
Consumer group Laban Consumer said that the ERB may decide on the penalties to be imposed on power producers, like what the Metropolitan Water Works and Sewerage System, or MWSS, did to water concessionaire Manila Water Company Incorporated.
They can do what MWSS did sa tubig. Meron naman palang mandate to impose penalty.
The DOE assured the Senate committee that they are now doing some adjustments on their policies, like the interruptible load program, to minimize the incidence of power outages in the country. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Senate of the Philippines.
The Philippine National Police activated the manhunt operations against dismissed police officer Eduardo Acierto and other personalities allegedly involved in the smuggling of illegal drugs inside magnetic lifters last year. Leia Ilagan will tell us why.
The Criminal Investigation and Detection Group Tracker team has begun searching possible areas where they can find former Police Colonel Eduardo Acierto and 7 others accused in illegal drugs. This was after they received a warrant of arrest ordered by the Supreme Court on Wednesday. Acierto and 7 others were indicted due to their alleged involvement in the smuggling of billions worth of illegal drugs concealed inside magnetic lifters. The PNP chief believes that Acierto is still in the country.
Sa ngayon, lahat ng pwede niyang puntahan, pinupuntahan na namin. We have tracker teams created from the CIDG. Hindi lang siya, pati yung mga ibang mga na-issue ng warrants of arrest.
The PNP chief believes that Acierto is still in the country.
We have to coordinate with the BID dito. Pero we believe na nandito pa siya.
Albayalde added that they will cancel the firearms license of Aciertos and 7 other accused.
Mga cancellation ng kanilang mga license firearms since that is a ground for cancellation of LTAP and licenses. No? Pag ikaw yung nakasuhan, lalong-lalo na mabigat yung kaso mo.
The 7 others accused in illegal drugs are former Custom Intelligence Officer Jimmy Guban and former PDEA Drug Enforcement Agency Deputy Director for Administration Ismael Fajardo. Importers Chan Yiwa, alias Casey Chan, Shu Kwan, alias Shang Kwan, consignees Vedasto Cabral Baraquiel Jr. and Maria Lagrimas Katipan of Becaba Trading and Emily Lukingan. They are facing charges for unlawful importation of illegal drugs pursuant to Republic Act 9165 or the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002. Acierto linked former Presidential Economic Advisor Michael Young and his business partner Alan Lim to illegal drug trade in the country. Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue, Camp Crame.
3 people were confirmed dead after a helicopter crashed in Malolos, Bulacan this noon. Authorities are yet to identify the cause of the accident. Victor Cosare will tell us why.
3 men were killed when a helicopter crashed into a fish pond in Malolos, Bulacan this afternoon. Police Chief Lieutenant Colonel Emery Abating identified one of the dead, the owner of Lao Group of Company. Meanwhile, policemen refused to name the other 2 victims. The helicopter was a total wreck and is still in the middle of the fish pond in Barangay Anilao, Malolos, Bulacan. The Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines said the helicopter bound for San Fernando, Pampanga took off from the Ninoy Aquino International Airport General Aviation Hangar around 12:28 p.m. A witness, meanwhile, said the helicopter was gushing.
Kanina pa mga 12:45 ng tanghali, naglalanding na po sila. Nung pag naghahanap po silang malalapagan. Ngayon siguro po inisip nila yan malalim. Ngayon po, bumabulusok po sila na magte-take off. Hindi na po sila nakaangat. Dire-diretso sila sa pagbulusok. Ngayon, pag tama po nila ngayon dyan sa paisdaan, sumabog ng malakas. Ngayon, yung mga pinto-pinto niya naghiwa-hiwalay. Kasama po yung mga sakay na tumilapon sa lakas ng pagsabog.
The helicopter, which bears the boarding number RPC-8098, was a total wreck. Responding teams are still investigating if there are other victims at the crash site. The chopper was owned and operated by LGC Air Transport. CAAP Director General Captain Jim Sidionco said an aircraft accident investigation and inquiry board has been dispatched to the crash site. Families of the victims have already arrived in the area.
Sa ngayon ang ginagawa namin nire-recover pa lang namin tong mga pieces ng aircraft. Ito yung mga ibang parts na nakuha na namin sa tubig.
Saan nagkaroon ng problema, sir?
Sa ngayon hindi pa namin alam pero naka-interview na kami ng mga witness.
Victor Posare, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The National High Court has cleared former Barcelona President Sandro Rosell of money laundering. Meanwhile, 2-time Olympic gold medalist David Wise soared to what is being hailed as a world record for the highest air on a quarter pipe. Asher Kadapan Jr. explains why.
David Wise of the United States set a new quarter pipe height world record of 11.70 meters at the Audi 9's event held in Solden, Austria on Monday. Wise, double Olympic half-pipe champion in Sochi and Pyeongchang, set the record with a straight air tail grab, breaking the mark of 10.82 meters set by fellow American Simon DeMont in 2008.
This is nuts. This is beyond crazy. And then you're in the air and it feels fine. And then you're grabbing tail and feels good.
Other fine performances included Andrei Ragetli of Switzerland, who has landed a quad cork 1980, which was first achieved by fellow Swiss Fabian Bosch at the X Games in Aspen, United States this January. In Solden, Bosch performed a Swiss double cork 1620, while Anna Gasser of Austria, the 2018 Big Air Olympic champion, demonstrated her snowboarding skills at nearby Obergurgl, Hochgurgl. The Audi 9s continues until Saturday, April 27. Meanwhile, former Barcelona Football Club president Sandro Rosell has been acquitted of charges related to an investigation into money laundering, a high court document showed on Wednesday. Rosell was arrested in May 2017 as part of a probe centered on audiovisual rights sales linked to Brazil's national soccer team. The High Court said a total of 6 people were acquitted from accusations of money laundering and belonging to a criminal group, the document showed. Rosell resigned as president of Barcelona in 2014 after Spain's High Court began investigating irregularities in the way the club signed Brazilian player Neymar. He had denied any wrongdoing in that case. Asher Kadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue.
The Department of the Interior and Local Government has served a dismissal order from the Office of the Ombudsman to the Mayor of Malay Aklan. The decision was made by the Office of the Ombudsman after substantial proof was found proving the mayor's negligence of Boracay Island. Vincent Arboleda will tell us why.
After proving the mayor's negligence, which in part resulted to the environmental degradation of Boracay Island, the Department of the Interior and Local Government served yesterday the dismissal order to Mayor Ciceron Kawaling of the municipality of Malay Aklan. Based on the decision of the Office of the Ombudsman, Kawaling was found guilty of the cases gross misconduct, gross neglect of duty, conduct unbecoming of public official, and conduct prejudicial to the best interest of the service. The cases were filed last year during the peak of Boracay rehabilitation.
It was proven that they were issuing licenses despite the fact that there were absent documents such as the fire safety inspection certificate amongst others. No? All the rest, sa 15, they were dismissed. No?
The Municipal Business and Licensing Officer of Malay, Jen Salsona, was also dismissed from post, while cases filed against the other 15 officials of Aklan was dismissed due to lacking substantial proof. Vice Mayor Abram Swalog immediately took oath as the acting mayor.
Yun ang desisyon ng Ombudsman, so we have to respect the decision. At siguro naman may avenue pa na pwede namang mag-apila si Mayor Kawaling. Huwag natin husgahan na lang muna.
Yusek Densing clarified that Kawaling may still continue his candidacy as mayor for the May 2019 elections.
Since it's not yet final, I think the court of last resort is the Supreme Court if they will still challenge the dismissal order. So he can still run. There's no prohibition for him at the moment to stop or to be prohibited from running for office.
Kawaling's camp has yet to issue a statement regarding the Ombudsman's decision. Vincent Arboleda, UNTV News and Rescue, Boracay.
Netizens give a fitting tribute to heroic police dogs involved in the search and rescue efforts in the collapsed supermarket in Porac, Pampanga. Monokson will tell us why.
Dogs are considered as man's best friend. But did you know that they do not just make us happy? They can also help in saving lives. After the 6.1 magnitude earthquake that hit Luzon, many were inspired and appreciate the braveness of rescue dogs of the MMDA K9 Corps. These dogs were sent to help in the search and rescue operations in the collapsed supermarket in Porac, Pampanga. The Team Porac Search and Rescue K9 is composed of Billy, a Belgian Malinois, Farah, a German Shepherd, Thunder, the cute Jack Russell Terrier, and also Ringo, Cody, and Chia. These dogs are trained to search for human life under a collapsed building. In the rescue efforts, one person was found alive with the help of the rescue dogs of MMDA. There's also a casualty recovered with the assistance of the rescue dogs. Netizens expressed positive comments on social media with the bravery shown by the rescue dogs. Alfred Mabun Palermo said he is relieved from stress just by looking on the cute dogs. Angie Nalica considered the rescue dogs superheroes. Jeneline Alimurong salute the bravery and valor of the MMDA K9 Corps, while Irma Figueroa described the dogs as tamed and calm but ready for action. The MMDA K9 Corps is a non-profit organization that consists of citizen volunteers that train their dogs for search and rescue operations. Monhokson, UNTV News and Rescue.
And for the news abroad, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and Russian President Vladimir Putin are holding their first ever meeting 2 months after a failed summit meeting with President Trump. Kath Dumaraos will tell us why.
North Korea's Kim Jong-un and Russian President Vladimir Putin have met for their first ever summit. The two shook hands on Russky Island near the port city of Vladivostok in Russia's Far East. Putin told Kim he expected his visit to Russia would help the two countries understand how to reach settlement over the Korean peninsula and develop bilateral ties.
I am sure that your visit to Russia today will help to develop bilateral relations and will help us understand how to reach settlement over the Korean peninsula. What can we do together? What Russia can do to support the positive processes that are going on right now? We welcome your efforts to develop the inter-Korean dialogue and to normalize North Korean-US relationship.
I too hope that our meeting with you, Mr. President, will be useful for strengthening and development of traditional friendly relations between DPRK and Russia, which run deep. And I would like to say that situation on Korean Peninsula is attracting interest of the whole world society. I hope that our talks will become an important milestone to sum up the situation, exchange opinions about it, and to negotiate resolution together.
Kim and Putin met for their unprecedented summit, where Kim is likely to seek support from the Russian leader as nuclear talks between North Korea and the United States are hanging in limbo. U.S. President Donald Trump and Mr. Kim met in Hanoi earlier this year without reaching an agreement. According to the Russian presidential spokesman Dmitry Peskov, the Kremlin believes the six-party talks on North Korea, which are currently stalled, are the only efficient way of addressing the issue of nuclear weapons on the Korean peninsula. Those talks, which began in 2003, involved the two Koreas as well as China, Japan, Russia, and the U.S. The summit, the first ever between Putin and Kim, provides Pyongyang with an opportunity to seek support from a new quarter, Russia, and possible relief from the sanctions hurting its economy. For the Kremlin, the summit is a chance to show it is a global diplomatic player, despite efforts by the United States and other Western states to isolate it. Kat Dumaraos, UNTV News and Rescue.
Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison said on Thursday that the arrest by Turkish authorities of a suspected member of the Islamic State group was routine, and reports are inconclusive on whether the man was planning to attack an Anzac Day commemoration at Gallipoli. Speaking to media in Townsville, Morrison cautioned over stating links between the arrest and the planned commemoration at Gallipoli, attended by hundreds of Australians and New Zealanders. Anzac Day commemorates the bloody battle on the Gallipoli Peninsula in Turkey during World War I. On April 25, 1915, thousands of troops from the Australian and New Zealand Army Corps, or ANZAC, were among a larger Allied force that landed on the narrow beaches of the Gallipoli Peninsula, an ill-fated campaign that would claim more than 130,000 lives. A white supremacist convicted of killing a black American nearly 21 years ago was executed in Huntsville, Texas. Beverly Saison will tell us why.
An avowed racist who orchestrated one of the most gruesome hate crimes in U.S. history was executed in Texas for the dragging death of a black man. John William King, who was white, received lethal injection on a Wednesday for the slaying of James Byrd Jr., who was chained to the back of a truck and dragged for nearly 5 kilometers along a secluded road in the piney woods outside Jasper, Texas. King, 44, was put to death at the state penitentiary in Huntsville, Texas. He was the 4th inmate executed this year in the U.S. and the 3rd in Texas, the nation's busiest capital punishment state.
The state of Texas has executed John William King. He was pronounced dead at 7:08 p.m. this evening. When asked if he had a final statement, Mr. King simply responded with the word no. He did, however, provide a written statement that reads as follows: capital punishment. Them without the capital get the punishment.
On Monday, the Texas Board of Pardons and Parole voted unanimously to deny King a commutation or a 120-day reprieve. Last October, the U.S. Supreme Court declined to take up his appeal.
King showed no remorse then and showed no remorse tonight. His execution tonight was just punishment for his actions.
King, along with Sean Berry and Lawrence Brewer, was accused of kidnapping Byrd while he hitchhiked in Jasper, Texas on June 7, 1998. Lawrence Russell Brewer was executed in 2011. The third man, Sean Allen Berry, was spared the death sentence and is serving a life term instead, as he did not share the white supremacist beliefs of Brewer and King. The gruesome killing spurred the passing of the Matthew Shepard and James Byrd Jr. Hate Crimes Prevention Act of 2009, strengthening laws against crimes motivated by a person's race, color, religion, sexual orientation, gender, disability, or national origin. Beverly Saison, UNTV News and Rescue, USA.
Measles cases in the United States have surpassed the highest number on record since the disease was declared eliminated nationwide in 2000. Meanwhile, flooding turned roadways into raging rivers in parts of eastern South Africa. Here's Ferdy Patalio to tell us why.
In South Africa, rescue workers were digging through collapsed buildings along South Africa's eastern coast on Wednesday, where at least 60 people were killed when heavy rain caused flooding and mudslides. Hundreds have been displaced, mainly in the city of Durban in KwaZulu-Natal province. Footages show multiple dwellings collapse in the mudslides. President Cyril Ramaphosa visited affected communities and told survivors that he would ensure that all their needs are addressed in every way possible. In Mozambique, downpours and strong winds lashed the French Indian Ocean island of Mayotte Tuesday night, as Cyclone Kenneth hit the island with the most vulnerable residents fleeing to shelters set up in local schools. The tropical storm is also expected to make landfall on Mozambique's coast on Thursday, just over a month after a more powerful storm struck the Mozambican port city of Beira further south and killed hundreds of people. Weather forecasters say Cyclone Kenneth will bring heavy rainfall, strong winds and waves over several meters to the southern African nation, which is still reeling from the effects of devastating Cyclone Idai. Mozambique's National Institute of Disaster Management said that about 682,500 people could be at risk from the storm. About 112,000 people were in areas where winds could be in excess of 120 kilometers per hour, it said. In Spain, after a wet holiday break, a fresh weather front brought further wind, rain, and even snow to parts of the country on Wednesday. Authorities issued a weather alerts for more than half of Spain's provinces. Snowplows were mobilized to clear roads of snow at higher altitudes, including Guadalajara, north of Madrid, while emergency services helped tackle floodwaters in town of Sabia, south of Valencia. Sun is predicted to return in time for Spain's general election on Sunday. And in the USA, the United States has confirmed 695 measles cases so far this year, the highest incidence recorded since the country declared it had eliminated the virus in 2000. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention said the resurgence of the contagious disease is linked mainly to the large outbreaks in Washington state and two in New York that began late last year. The longer the outbreaks continue, the greater the chance measles will again get a sustained foothold in the United States, according to the CDC. Ferdy Petalio, UNTV News and Rescue.
There are many so-called animal cafes in Japan, but this type of cafe is definitely unique. Abby Valdez tells us why.
The first pig cafe in Tokyo opened its doors to the public and is set to be among the top destination spots for animal lovers and tourists. Customers are allowed to embrace the adorable teacup pigs while enjoying coffee and dessert. The cute piggies are aged about 2 to 4 months and weigh less than 5 kilograms. Visitors said the little animals are therapeutic and help relieve stress.
Their noses feel cool, but the bodies are so warm. How cute! I love little animals. I think the little pigs can heal my heart.
I never expected such closeness between pigs and human beings. I am busy staff member at work, but now with the little pigs here with me, I feel the weariness is all gone.
There are almost 1,000 pet cafes in Japan with the animals ranging from cats, dogs, bears, and even hedgehogs. The market value of pet cafes in the country has reached about $13 billion. Abby Valdez, UNTV News and Rescue.
An Essex man will attempt a world record breaking the speed of the fastest rickshaw. Here's Jovic Bermas to tell us why.
Contending with London traffic on a rainy day may not be the best preparation for smashing a bizarre speed record. But English businessman Matt Everard is confident he will soon be the proud owner of the world's fastest tuk-tuk. He's already spent around £20,000 and 5 months doing up the vintage Thai three-wheeler which he purchased late at night on auction website eBay.
Okay, so I went to Thailand to a friend's wedding. We had a stopover for 2 days in Bangkok, and while we were there I took the family out on some tuk-tuk rides, and we just loved the feeling of buzzing through the streets and the kind of excitement of it. And when I went back home I was constantly looking on eBay. I'm absolutely car mad, a petrol head anyway, and one night I was looking and I found a Thai tuk-tuk, which is, there are others that are from India and Sri Lanka, etc. But I particularly wanted a Thai tuk-tuk. So my wife went to bed, and after she went to bed and I hoped that she was safely asleep, I went on eBay and pressed buy it now, and it made for a slightly difficult conversation in the morning over breakfast, but she came round eventually.
Next month, Matt plans to race it down a Yorkshire airfield and perhaps break the 160 km/h barrier. The current world record stands at 109.5 km/h. But Everard says some technical adjustments to his tuk-tuk and going on a diet means that mark should be easily obtainable. To have the record ratified, Everard must carry a passenger, and he has asked his cousin Russell Shearman to help out. As part of his investment in the tuk-tuk, which was built in 1971, Everard has replaced the original 2-stroke 350cc engine with a 1300cc fuel-injected Daihatsu, one that is capable of at least 90 miles per hour. He has also removed the vehicle's canopy and plans to improve the steering so the drive is more steady at top speed. Most importantly, Everard said he is hoping to raise thousands of pounds for charity through his world record attempt, and the money will go towards an £18 million project to build a new hospice in Essex. Jovic Burmas, UNTV News and Rescue, London, United Kingdom.
And those are the reasons behind the news. It's April 25, 2019. On behalf of Rina Villamor Camara, I am Angelo Castro III. And before we close, we will recap today's significant sound bites. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Good evening.
Lahat po ng equipment na possible na gamitin to detect life po, and then yung cadaver, kasi we are on our 4th day. Kung meron po tayong natrap dyan na patay, sobrang mabaho na po. At wala po tayong nadedetect ngayon.
Unang-una, meron silang mga liability. Ang whether mag-file o hindi ng criminal case yung mga tao dito, of course, yung civil liability, number 1 yan. Siguradong meron yan.
Yung Palawan, ito yung stable region. Yung stable region, dun walang lindol halos. So yung Palawan, medyo relatively hindi na lindol dyan.
Ngayon, lahat ng pwede niyang puntahan, pinupuntahan na namin. We have tracker teams created from the CIDG. Hindi lang siya, pati yung mga ibang mga na-issue ng warrants of arrest.
Kanina pa mga 12:45 ng tanghali, naglalanding na po sila. Nung pag naghahanap po silang malalapagan. Ngayon siguro po inisip nila yan malalim. Ngayon po, bumubulusok po sila nga na magte-take off. Hindi na po sila nakaangat.
This context here is the rising levels of overweight and obesity and the increasing levels of physical inactivity. Currently today, 1 in 3 adults are overweight or obese. 1 in 4 adults do not do enough physical activity.